How did you get the gig for Birdman?
Well, Alejandro González Iñárritu, the director, and me have an interesting backstory. When I was a teenager growing up in Mexico City, there was this radio station, WFM 96.9, which played the hippest music in all of Mexico. And I was a big fan of the station. I was a big fan of the DJs. The DJs were Martin Hernandez and Alejandro González Iñárritu. Yes, so that's how I became familiar with this name. And Martin Hernandez, he's the one that does sound design for his films nowadays. So they were both DJs in this station. And they had a nightly show called Magic Nights. And the first time I heard the Pat Metheny group was in that show. So I'm listening to that show and this tune comes on and I'm like, wow, that's pretty cool. What is that? And then I hear somebody saying there's a Pat Metheny group and the name of the tune is Last Train Home. So I was like, wow, I like that band. And I started kind of getting into the Pat Metheny group. And then we can fast forward many years and I'm playing with the Pat Metheny group for some reason of some amazing, number of situations that came to this moment for me to be playing with them at the Universal Amphitheater in Los Angeles. And after the show, there's an after party, and I'm trying to get to my dressing room, and this guy stops me. And it's like, man, it's so cool you're playing with these guys. I'm also from Mexico. I've been a big fan of this band for a long time. And man, you're from Mexico. And he kept saying, I could, because of his accent, I could tell he was from Mexico too. So I was almost a little bit annoyed because I just wanted to get to my dressing room. And this guy kept talking up a storm. But he seemed like a really nice guy, and I asked him, so, what do? You live here? Oh, yeah, I live here. I direct films and commercials and stuff. And I thought to myself, well, we're in LA, and probably every other guy is a film director, so I wasn't particularly impressed. And then I asked him anything I would have seen, and then he said, well, I have two movies. So one is called Amores Perros, and the second one is 21 Grams. So at that moment, I was like, oh, God, you're that guy, and I got incredibly excited. And then we really hit it off right off the bat. Very approachable guy, very high energy, but very down to earth. And you could tell he's got this very active creative streak in him. Just, one of those types. And we kept in touch. Every time I would go to LA, I would give him a call, see if he could come to my gigs. And when he was in New York, he would call me and invite me to his screenings. I went to the screening of Babel and Beautiful. And then out of the blue, January 2013, my phone rang and I saw his name there, and I picked up and he said, Antonio, I'm working on my next film and I think it would be great if the whole score was just drums. So, well, do you want to do it? Are you in? I'm like, yes, of course I'm in. So really just drums? And like, yeah, that's going to be amazing. And then I'll send you the script, check it out, and then we'll talk. So he sent me the script, I read through it, and then we began trying to figure out what to do with it.
And what was the process by which you created the score?
It was an interesting way of doing things because there was nothing for me to look at. They were shooting the film in New York in the spring of 2013. And we got together in Avatar Studios in New York, and we recorded some demos. And the demos would be based on what he would describe to me in each scene of the film. They'd be like, okay, in this scene, this is what happens. And if you saw the film, these are really long shots, so the scenes would have many parts to them. So he would describe every little thing. And I told him, well, why don't you sit in front of me? And when imagine the scene, let's imagine it together. While I'm playing, I want you to raise your hand every time you see the next phase of the scene happening. And that way I'll know, how to orient myself, within the scene. And we must have done 60, 70 different takes of that. Then they grabbed those demos and they took them to the set and they actually rehearsed and shot to some of my demos just to get the timing of what Alejandro wanted to do. And he also wanted to see if it would just work at all. And then they spliced those demos and put them all over the rough cut of the film once it was done. And then they brought me back to LA. They showed me what they did, and we redid everything again by looking at what he had liked from those demos, what he didn't like. And this time around, we were really focusing on dialogue and movement and, you know, cues, a lot more specific, because now I could actually see the film. And another thing we worked on was the sound of the drums. The first demos we did were very clean sounding, and he wanted something dirtier and you know, just more beat up. Everything happens in the bowels of this old Broadway theater, so he wanted something that sounded old and beat up, like, and rusty, like it had been sitting there for years. So I tweaked the drums, I detuned them, I put tape on them, I stacked cymbals so that they had this really trashy sound to them, and I put vintage heads on everything, and we redid the whole thing. And what you hear in the film is the result of those sessions and a little bit of the first sessions. The two things are combined throughout the whole thing.
Because of the organic way that you work together, you and the movie are one. It's like, it's not a movie or it's a soundtrack, it's really one thing.
Part of the reason why that happened is because I started sending him demos right off the bat, and my first instinct was to try to think of rhythmic themes for each one of the different characters. So every time you would see Michael Keaton coming on the screen, then you would hear this certain beat, you know. So I sent him some demos, and he wrote me back saying, you know, that's not what I'm looking for. I'm looking for something really organic, very spur of the moment. So, you know, just one jazz, basically. And when he said that, I completely relaxed, because I was like, okay, so I'm just going to have to react to what's going on. And that's something easy for me, because I've been playing jazz for so long. So all I have to do is do the same thing I do on stage. But instead of doing it to 3 or 4 musicians, I'm going to do it to an image. And, you know, I think that's why it works so well, because I was really working from my instincts entirely in the moment. There was not that much time to think.
When I saw the film, what struck me about it was it almost seemed like a jazz film. Not the subject so much, but just the way that it moved. Because the fact that this film is put together where in many places it looks like one continuous shot, which is very challenging to do. Alfred Hitchcock made a movie in the mid-50s called Rope, where he utilized a similar technique, but it was on one set, so the camera just kind of moved around. Whereas with Birdman, you're on a number of different locations in and around the theater. In fact, the fact that the movie has like a seamless feel with your percussion integrated onto it organically makes it kind of unique. I've never really seen a film like this before that worked this way.
Me neither, believe me. I had no idea how the movie was going to turn out. Because when they showed it to me for the first time, it was a rough cut, and the editing was not complete, the music was not there, the color correction was not there. I mean, all these elements, there were no special effects, no CGI. So, you know, I think it would be probably the equivalent if I gave somebody my completely unmixed record, and, you know, the guitar is really loud and the drums are not loud enough and the saxophone sounds too bright. It doesn't really give you an idea of what it's actually gonna be. So I went on the road a lot last year while they were doing post-production, and when I finally got to see it, I saw it maybe in October of last year, and I wanted to wait and go to the movie theater here in New York and really, you know, go to an early show where there was no people, because I didn't want anybody talking around me. And I went with my fiance, and we were just completely blown away. I mean, I had no idea what we were about to witness. So it was an amazing experience. This is going to be a very interesting year for me. I'm devoting it 100% to my band, my projects. I have 2 very different projects coming out this year. One comes out in April, which is a record called 3x3, which I recorded maybe a year and a half ago, but we had been waiting to release it until now. And it's an all-star project that I'm incredibly excited about because it's some of my favorite musicians are playing, and I wrote especially for them. The first trio is with Brad Meldau and Matt Brewer. The second trio is John Schofield and Kristen McBride. And the third trio is Joe Lovano and John Patitucci. So I wrote 2 tunes for each one of these trios and arranged a standard. That's why it's called 3x3. And then my band Migration recorded an album last December. It's called the Meridian Suite. And it's a 1-hour continuous piece of music played by my band. And it's called the Meridian Suite because I even put the definition of meridians on the record. It's imaginary lines that cross the earth, the sky, our bodies, our minds. It has to do a lot with channels of energy and pathways of the mind, all these things. And of course, the geographical location of things and how we calculate time is very important as well. So the idea behind this suite is that the motifs, the ideas, the melodies, they intertwine all over the piece for an hour. A different treatment, different groove, different harmony, but they keep meeting in different places, just like meridians do, all around us, even though we cannot see them or touch them. So that's the concept behind that. And we're going to be touring for most of the year with that.
And what's the instrumentation? Who's in the band?
In the band, it's Seamus Blake on tenor and Iwi, John Screed on piano and Rhodes, Matt Brewer on electric and acoustic basses, Tana Alexa on vocals, Adam Rogers on guitars, and myself on the drums.
Great. And if people want to find out more about you and your music, do you have a website? Yeah,
the best place to go is antoniosanchez.net. But you can also find me on Facebook, Twitter, all the usual social media sites.
All right, Antonio. Thanks so much for taking the time to do this.
My pleasure. Thank you.
This is the Jazz Video Guy, and I'd like to thank you for watching. Did you like the video? Please click like. We love your comments and suggestions. And please subscribe to stay up to date with our latest offerings.